Live feed activated. The voice was chilling, smooth, alien, devoid of emotion. Billions watched as 70,000 Americans stood shackled atop hovering platforms high above the sprawling, brutalist skyline of Vorik Prime. Towers of twisted metal pierced the sky, a metallic jungle gleaming ominously under a blood-red sun. On Mars, Major Jason Ajax Harker clenched his fists, veins pulsing as rage tightened his jaw. The broadcast filled every screen in the command bunker, silent horror permeating the air. "God help them!" murmured Captain Sophia Lynn, her voice barely audible. Jason's sharp eyes burned into the image. Mothers shielding terrified children, men standing protectively before families. Humanity displayed naked, broken, on display for a universe's scorn. The Vorik Dominion had calculated this humiliation, crafting fear as their signature. "Humans," announced Grand Executive Valdrak Zalos, his voice laced with casual contempt. "This is your final lesson in obedience." Jason ground his teeth at Zalos' arrogant visage, each alien syllable landing like acid. Zalos raised a skeletal hand, ringed fingers glinting cruelly. "Let justice be served." Without warning, gravity fields beneath the platforms disappeared. 70,000 souls fell in horrifying silence, eyes wide, mouths open, frozen in a scream never voiced. Seconds stretched agonizingly until a muffled chorus of sickening snaps echoed through millions of broadcasts. Jason turned sharply away, breathing ragged. "They slaughtered them," whispered Sophia, eyes wet, voice hollow. "No," Jason growled, glaring toward the starlit Mars sky. "They murdered them." Around him, stunned silence shifted swiftly into boiling anger. Marines tightened grips on rifles, eyes blazing with quiet fury. Jason slammed his palm on the comlink. "Patch me through to Earth Command." Within seconds, the tense face of General Wallace filled the screen, shadows carving deep lines in his aged face. "Major Harker, you witnessed?" "I did. General, permission to respond immediately." Wallace hesitated, glancing nervously aside. Jason bristled at the silence. "General? You understand the Dominion outmatches us vastly," Wallace said reluctantly. "Diplomacy might." "Diplomacy just died on Vorik Prime," Jason interrupted, voice hard as steel. "They spat in humanity's face, General. We strike now, or we surrender everything." Wallace swallowed visibly, momentarily weighing caution against outrage before his shoulders stiffened. "Permission granted." "Godspeed, Major." Jason nodded once, cutting the link abruptly. Turning to his waiting Marines, he measured each face, men and women hardened by Mars' harsh frontier, loyal soldiers steeled for war. "Gear up," he ordered sharply. "Briefing room in 5. Within minutes, the tactical room buzzed with a tense undercurrent. Jason faced the gathering, his rigid stance and burning gaze commanding absolute attention. "Tonight, humanity stands on a blade's edge," he began, voice low yet resonant. "They butchered our own to crush our will. The Vorik Dominion thinks fear will shackle us." His eyes swept fiercely across them. "They're wrong. We're Marines. Fear isn't our master." A voice pierced the silence. A younger Marine, Corporal Adams, expression tight with grief. "Major, what's our objective?" Jason tapped a holographic map, lighting the darkened room with a ghostly glow. A Dominion communications relay flickered above planet Arcanes, a critical hub feeding their propaganda machine across conquered worlds. "We're silencing their lies," Jason explained sharply. "Relay on Arcanes broadcasts Dominion propaganda galaxy-wide. Destroying it disrupts their narrative, sending a message: humanity won't be subdued by fear." Captain Lin leaned forward, intensity etched across her features. "Expected resistance?" "Heavy," Jason admitted bluntly. "They'll anticipate retaliation. This operation demands precision, stealth, speed." He paused briefly, meeting their eyes, his voice grave. "Understand clearly, this is only the first blow. We're not avenging 70,000 lives with one strike alone. So this is the beginning of war," Sophia murmured soberly. Jason nodded grimly. "It's a war we didn't start, but it's ours now." A moment of silence stretched through the room, thick with purpose. Finally, Adams raised his chin defiantly. Then we give 'em hell, sir. Jason's hardened expression softened slightly, acknowledging the raw courage reflected in every soldier's stance. We'll give them more than hell, he promised fiercely. We'll give them humanity. 10 minutes later, Marines strapped into combat gear, checking weapons swiftly, each movement precise, disciplined. Jason pulled on his tactical vest, fastening it securely, a ritual he'd performed countless times yet never with such bitter determination. Sophia appeared quietly beside him, her voice low. Think humanity's ready for this? Jason stared distantly through the viewport, Mars a red blur beneath them, humanity's outpost in the void. They will be, he replied resolutely. This massacre woke something. Now humanity's fury will burn brighter than their cruelty. And if we're walking into a trap? Jason turned, offering a grim half-smile. Then we break their trap and teach them never to underestimate us again. USS Avenger awaited in the dock, sleek and lethal, her hull glinting coldly under artificial lights. The team boarded swiftly, silent determination guiding their steps. Inside, engines hummed powerfully, vibrating the deck beneath their boots. Jason settled into the command chair, gaze locked on the black abyss beyond. His thoughts turned inward momentarily, those faces he'd seen fall silently into oblivion haunting him. He silently vowed justice, knowing vengeance couldn't replace the dead but might redeem humanity's wounded pride. All systems online, reported Captain Lin sharply. Stealth field engaged, departure path set. Jason nodded sharply. Engage. Avenger shuddered slightly, slicing gracefully from Mars' orbit toward enemy territory. Jason felt adrenaline surge, anticipation mixing dangerously with grim resolve. This journey was humanity's response, its fury forged into resolve, tempered into precision. He stared into darkness, whispering softly to himself. 70,000 voices silenced, but humanity will roar. And in that quiet moment, bound for battle, Jason swore the Vorath Dominion would soon learn the cost of waking humanity's wrath. USS Avenger glided silently through the bleak void, cloaked in darkness, invisible to prying eyes. Stars streaked past the viewport, white sparks dancing quietly in the endless night. Major Jason Harker stood motionless at the bridge's helm, eyes sharp as laser points, thoughts razor-edged with purpose. How far to Arcanes? Jason asked calmly, breaking the tense silence. 20 minutes out. Captain Sophia Lin replied from navigation, her voice composed but taut with quiet anticipation. Enemy detection minimal so far, stealth systems optimal. Jason nodded, satisfied, turning back to the starlit void. His pulse quickened slightly, his blood humming a tense battle rhythm. Every Marine aboard knew the gravity of their mission. Failure wasn't just death, it meant humanity would be forced to kneel forever. The quiet whisper of bootsteps approached him from behind. He recognized Corporal Adams without turning, sensing the younger man's tense energy. Something on your mind, Adams? Corporal Adams paused, choosing words cautiously. Sir, are we sure hitting Arcanes first is the right call? Jason turned slowly, eyes sharp yet understanding. Adams' expression betrayed worry, buried beneath a soldier's disciplined mask. Speak plainly, Corporal. Adams hesitated only briefly before plunging ahead. We're reacting exactly how the Dominion expects, striking back immediately. What if this is a setup? What if we're walking straight into a trap? Jason regarded Adams carefully. He admired the young soldier's candor. It was healthy caution, not cowardice. It's possible, Jason acknowledged soberly. But Dominion arrogance is their weakness. They don't believe humans possess the nerve or skill to strike back. That blind spot is our opportunity. Adams' gaze steadied, reassured by Jason's quiet conviction. Understood, sir. Jason clasped Adams' shoulder firmly. Your caution's smart. Keep sharp, stay ready. We'll remind them fear cuts both ways. A slight grin cracked Adams' tension. Absolutely, Major. Moments later, Sophia broke in, urgency coloring her voice. Arcanes relay station detected, sir. Heavy Dominion presence confirmed. Jason straightened instantly, snapping orders without hesitation. Activate countermeasures. Marines to combat stations. Klaxons blared softly through Avengers corridors, summoning soldiers swiftly to battle readiness. Jason strode toward the hangar, Sophia falling into stride beside him. How confident are you about infiltrating that relay unnoticed? She asked quietly, concern beneath her steady tone. Stealth's our best ally, Jason answered briskly. Vorith arrogance makes them lazy. They expect direct assaults, brute force, never subtlety. Sophia offered a tense, humorless smile. Let's hope arrogance stays predictable. Moments later, Jason reached the waiting Marines, their faces illuminated dimly beneath red combat lighting. Their helmets mirrored fierce determination, yet apprehension lingered unspoken. Jason's eyes caught theirs briefly, reading quiet resolve within each gaze. All right, Marines, he announced clearly, voice steady and firm. Mission simple: infiltrate, sabotage, extract. No heroics, just clean precision. Copy that, sir, echoed unified, disciplined voices. Jason boarded the infiltration shuttle first, strapping himself tightly into his harness. Engines hummed gently beneath them, the ship launching smoothly from Avenger's belly. They plunged toward Arcanes, a bleak orb ringed with icy debris, the relay station orbiting ominously like a silent guardian of the Dominion's propaganda machine. The shuttle moved swift and soundless, slipping beneath Dominion's sensor sweeps. Jason's eyes narrowed intently, mind meticulously reviewing tactical data. Every second counted. Hesitation could spell disaster. The docking point loomed rapidly, illuminated faintly by distant starlight. As the shuttle attached silently, Jason keyed his calm, voice clipped. Prepare for breach. Minimal engagement. A soft hiss marked the seal locking into place. Marines moved swiftly, disciplined shadows silently spilling into enemy corridors. The sterile halls glowed faint blue, alien scripts blinking coldly from polished surfaces. Jason took point, weapon raised, breath controlled, muscles tense yet poised. The eerie silence amplified every footfall. Corridor lights cast a stark, unsettling glow, accentuating alien architecture twisted in sharp angles designed to intimidate. Ahead, 2 Dominion guards stood idle, oblivious to their approach. Jason signaled silently. 2 Marines moved smoothly, soundlessly, dispatching the guards efficiently. Jason pressed onward, guiding the team expertly through labyrinthine hallways, heart hammering steadily, adrenaline sharpening his senses. The relay control center loomed ahead, heavy security doors sealed tight. Captain Lin swiftly placed hacking devices, fingers agile over keypad interfaces. Seconds ticked away in agonizing suspense until a muted chime confirmed access. Doors hissed open quietly, revealing the heart of the Dominion's propaganda apparatus. The room pulsated softly, screens flickering with sinister efficiency, images replaying the execution broadcast cruelly in endless loops. Jason's jaw tightened reflexively, rage tempered by icy discipline. Charges set 5 minutes, he ordered sharply. Marines moved rapidly, explosives placed precisely to cripple the station's core operations. Jason secured vital data logs quickly, gathering intelligence that might expose further Dominion plans. Movement detected, Major, Sophia warned urgently from the doorway. Dominion patrol closing fast, time to extraction limited. Jason acknowledged tersely, motioning Marines swiftly toward escape routes. Heartbeat quickening, tension surged within him, yet outwardly he moved with unshakable calmness, embodying focused leadership. Suddenly alarms shrieked violently, shattering stealth, emergency lights flooding corridors in crimson chaos. They found us! Adams shouted, voice strained. Move fast! Jason commanded sharply, urgency edged into his words. Activate explosives remotely, collapse it all! Marines bolted, disciplined panic pulsing beneath ordered retreat. Behind them, detonation charges erupted spectacularly, shockwaves reverberating violently, chaos drowning Dominion broadcasts in static silence. Jason sprinted furiously, heart pounding, adrenaline sharpening reflexes. Enemy troops surged into corridors, energy fire blazing angrily past. Marines returned disciplined fire, holding formation fiercely yet swiftly retreating toward extraction. "Move, move!" Jason shouted, voice cutting through combat's chaos. His pulse raced dangerously, every second critical. The shuttle hatch yawned ahead, salvation tantalizingly close. With final desperate lunges, Marines hurled themselves aboard. Jason slammed controls, sealing the hatch as Avenger pulled away violently into darkness, pursued briefly by impotent Dominion weapons. Jason exhaled raggedly, pulse roaring, muscles trembling slightly as adrenaline ebbed. Marines around him exchanged breathless glances, quiet triumph evident beneath exhaustion's mask. Captain Lin's voice crackled urgently through comms. "Major, Dominion transmissions intercepted. They know it's us. They're threatening immediate retaliation on civilian populations." Jason steadied his breath, eyes narrowing sharply. "Understood. Plot a course deeper into Dominion territory." "Deeper?" Sophia's tone betrayed brief hesitation. Jason's voice rang firm and unwavering. "Dominion won't stop unless we break their hold completely. Arcani's was the first blow. Now we go straight for their heart." Silence lingered briefly before Lin replied, voice strengthened by resolve. Jason stared fiercely through the viewport, stars reflecting determination in his hardened gaze. "Avenger, set course for Dominion fleet coordinates. It's time humanity strikes fear into the monsters themselves." The USS Avenger cut through the void like a phantom, slipping past Dominion patrols undetected. Every sensor was tuned to perfection, every movement deliberate. The stealth field shimmered invisibly around the hull, rendering them little more than a shadow against the vastness of space. Major Jason Harker stood at the command deck, staring at the looming behemoth ahead, the Dominion flagship, Void Reaver. It hung in the darkness like a monstrous sentinel, its elongated form bristling with weaponry, a fortress of death. This was Grand Executor Zalo's throne of power. And it was their next target. Captain Lin's voice was calm but edged with tension. "Final approach. No sign we've been detected." Jason exhaled steadily, his mind sharpening as he turned to the assembled Marines in the hangar bay. Every face reflected the same cold determination. This wasn't just another mission. This was vengeance. "We take their heart tonight," Jason said firmly. "Zalos thinks fear makes him untouchable. We'll prove him wrong." Corporal Adams adjusted his weapon, jaws set. "What's the op plan, sir?" Jason activated the holographic schematic of Void Reaver. "We infiltrate through the ventral maintenance ports. Low security, low visibility. From there, we hit their control hubs. Primary target is Zalos. We cut the head off, send the body into chaos." A murmur of approval rippled through the squad. They knew the risks. This wasn't just sabotage. This was assassination at the heart of the Dominion war machine. Sergeant Vickers checked his ammo and let out a dry chuckle. "Damn shame. Was hoping we'd at least give the bastard a speech before we put him down." Jason's lips curled into a humorless smirk. "Don't worry, Vickers. I'll make sure his last words are real memorable." The docking countdown began. The stealth shuttle maneuvered beneath Void Reaver, matching its slow drift. The magnetic clamps engaged with a quiet hiss, locking them in place against the hull. Jason led the breach, moving with precision. Sophia Lin followed, hacking into the maintenance panel with practiced efficiency. A muted click, then the hatch hissed open, revealing the dark corridors within. "Go!" Jason ordered. The Marines slipped inside, silent as wraiths. Silent infiltration. The Dominion vessel was a labyrinth of angular corridors, pulsing dimly with eerie blue lighting. Alien glyphs flickered along the walls, broadcasting unreadable commands to unseen operators. The air was sterile, tinged with something cold and metallic. Jason moved swiftly, his squad following in disciplined formation. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. They bypassed security nodes, disabling cameras and silent alarms as they weaved deeper into the belly of the beast. Vickers whispered through the comm. "Feels too easy." Jason's instincts flared. He knew better than to believe in easy. They reached an intersection. Lynn held up a fist. Halt. She tapped into a nearby terminal, her fingers ghosting over alien controls. A moment later, her expression tightened. Movement ahead. Heavily armed. Blocking our path. Jason assessed the tactical map. No alternate routes. Combat was inevitable. He switched to silent hand signals. We go fast. No hesitation. No alarms. The squad acknowledged, weapons raised. Jason led the charge. They moved like shadows, striking with brutal precision. Suppressed shots found their marks. Vorith guards collapsed without a sound. Knives met flesh in swift, final movements. Within moments, the corridor was theirs. Adams exhaled slowly. Still too easy. Jason agreed. Something wasn't right. Lynn's screen flickered with new data. Her eyes widened. They know we're here. The words had barely left her mouth when the ship's klaxon screamed to life. The trap closes. Jason reacted instantly. Move! Faster! The silent infiltration was over. Now came the fight. Heavy doors slammed shut, sealing exits. Red emergency lighting bathed the corridors in a hellish glow. The ship rumbled as security teams deployed. Command's rerouting forces to block us, Lynn reported. They're hurting us. Jason's jaw clenched. Zalos knows we're coming. They pressed forward regardless. The corridors became a battleground. Energy fire lit the air, casting erratic shadows against metallic walls. The squad fought with ruthless efficiency, covering fire, precision strikes, unrelenting momentum. Bodies fell. Blood slicked the floors. The Marines pushed deeper, carving a path toward the command chamber. Zalos was waiting for them. The final door slid open with a slow, deliberate hiss. Inside, the executor stood tall, his skeletal frame draped in regal black, golden sigils etched into his armor. His elongated face was unreadable, dark eyes gleaming with condescension. Behind him, Dominion elites lined the chamber, weapons poised, faces devoid of emotion. Jason stepped forward, weapon raised. Zalos. Zalos clasped his hands behind his back, tilting his head in mock curiosity. Major Harker, how predictably human of you. A desperate act, clawing at inevitability. Jason's grip tightened on his rifle. You think fear wins wars? Zalos' expression didn't change. Fear ensures obedience. And now you will serve as my next demonstration. The trap snapped fully shut. Doors sealed. Dozens of Dominion warriors took formation, weapons humming to life. Jason assessed his surroundings, his mind a rapid-fire machine of calculations. No escape. No reinforcements. They were locked inside with an enemy who believed he had already won. Vickers smirked grimly. Well, Major, I think we got that speech you wanted. Jason exhaled slowly, his fury cold and controlled. He locked eyes with Zalos, seeing not a godlike ruler, but a creature of arrogance, blind to what was coming. Jason tightened his grip on his rifle. No matter how many chains you forge, you'll never break humanity. Zalos barely blinked. And yet you kneel before me now. Jason's smirk was razor-sharp. Kneeling? You must be mistaking cover for submission. Then he moved. A single, precise shot shattered the nearest power node. The lights flickered, darkness momentarily swallowing the room. Jason's Marines exploded into action, moving before Dominion forces could fully react. Shadows became weapons, darkness their ally. Blades met flesh. Bullets tore through armor. Jason spun low, firing in controlled bursts, cutting down elites in seconds. Zalos retreated behind his guards, watching with unreadable amusement. Jason advanced through the carnage, his target clear. Zalos finally spoke, voice calm amidst the chaos. Such futile defiance. Jason's smirk never wavered. We call it resistance. The battle was far from over. But Jason was done playing by the Dominion's rules. It was time for the hunter to become the hunted. The chaos in the command chamber was instantaneous and absolute. Dominion elites fired in controlled bursts, their precision deadly, but Jason Harker and his Marines moved faster, trained for close-quarters combat, thriving in confined spaces where speed and aggression decided survival. Jason rolled to the side, dodging a crackling energy bolt that burned the air where he had just stood. He came up firing, his rifle's suppressed rounds cutting through the chest plate of a Dominion soldier. The alien staggered, gurgled something in his guttural tongue, and collapsed. Across the chamber, Vickers and Adams fought like men possessed, their movements efficient and brutal. Lynn had taken cover behind a fallen Dominion officer, her sidearm spitting rapid bursts of fire, each shot striking true. Amidst the carnage, Zalos remained still, watching with unnerving composure. He was unarmed, yet radiated the confidence of a man who believed himself untouchable. Jason knew better. The executor had planned this moment, orchestrated their capture, and was waiting for the final piece to fall into place. A squad of reinforcements stormed into the chamber. Jason snapped to the side, his rifle barking 3 times in rapid succession. 2 went down. The third lunged, blade flashing. Jason twisted, caught the alien's wrist, and wrenched it sideways. A sickening pop echoed through the battle. The Dominion soldier crumpled, screaming. "Lynn, status!" Jason called, voice cutting through the gunfire. Lynn tapped furiously at her wrist console, ducking behind cover. "Locking down their external comms. Almost done!" Jason barely had time to register the success before a sudden impact sent him sprawling. Zalos had moved. The executor stood over him, eerily calm. "Predictable," he murmured, voice like ice. "Violence is your species' answer to everything." Jason rolled to his feet, blade in hand, eyes locked onto his enemy. "It's the only answer tyrants understand." Zalos tilted his head, unreadable. "Humans are fascinating. You hold no dominion here, no power. And yet you behave as though you do." Jason's grip tightened. "We don't need dominion. Just a fair fight." Zalos exhaled slowly, disappointment shadowing his sharp features. Then he moved. For a being of his stature, he was impossibly fast. Jason barely registered the strike before pain erupted across his ribs. He staggered back, gasping. Zalos had closed the distance in a blink, his elongated fingers moving with terrifying precision, striking nerve clusters with surgical efficiency. Jason gritted his teeth, refusing to fall. He twisted low, driving his blade upward, aiming for the throat. Zalos caught his wrist mid-motion. The executor's grip was inhumanly strong. "You are persistent," Zalos observed, tightening his hold. Jason snarled through clenched teeth. "And you talk too much." With sheer force, he wrenched himself free and drove his elbow into Zalos' face. The impact staggered the alien for the first time, a flicker of surprise crossing his expression. Jason didn't waste a moment. He surged forward, tackling the executor to the ground. They grappled viciously, rolling across the cold floor. Zalos fought with practiced precision, his movements calculated, while Jason was all raw force and trained brutality. He forced his knee against the alien's chest, driving his weight down, pinning him. Zalos' eyes met his, cold, unwavering. "Even if you kill me, humanity will burn." Jason pressed the barrel of his sidearm against the executor's forehead. "Then we'll burn standing." He fired. Zalos jerked once. Then went still. Silence descended over the chamber. The remaining Dominion soldiers hesitated, momentarily leaderless. Vickers, bloodied but standing, lifted his rifle. "Stand down, or die like him." For a breathless second, no one moved. Then, one by one, the elites dropped their weapons. Jason exhaled sharply, chest heaving. The battle was over. Lynn approached, eyes locked on Zalos' lifeless body. "It's done." Jason wiped blood from his lip and pushed to his feet. "Not yet." He activated his calm. "Avenger, you reading this?" A burst of static. Then, "Loud and clear, Major." Jason glanced around. "Relay this galaxy-wide. The Dominion just lost its head." Let the oppressed world see that their master can bleed. Lin tapped into the Dominion's own broadcast system, hijacking their transmission feeds. Within seconds, every screen flickered, revealing the image of Zalo's body sprawled at Jason's feet. His own voice carried across countless systems. Zalos is dead. Humanity does not kneel. And neither should you. The transmission cut. A silence followed. It was the silence before a storm. Lin turned to Jason. This will spark something big. Jason nodded. Good. Let's get out before the Dominion rallies. The Marines regrouped, moving swiftly through the corridors. The ship trembled under emergency alarms, but resistance had faded. Without orders, Dominion forces were fractured. Minutes later, Avengers Hangar Bay swallowed them whole. The moment the ramp sealed, Jason collapsed against the bulkhead, exhaustion catching up with him. Lin knelt beside him, handing him a stim. You did it, she said quietly. Jason exhaled, the weight of it all settling in his bones. We did. Vickers dropped into a seat, wiping his forehead. So, what now? Jason stared through the viewport, watching the Dominion fleet in disarray. Fires raged across Void Reaver. For the first time, the Dominion had been struck at its core. He flexed his bruised knuckles. Now? He met Lin's gaze, a glint of fierce resolve in his eyes. Now we start a war. The Avenger turned sharply, vanishing into the void, leaving behind the first spark of rebellion.